architecture is definitely becoming coming into its own in our country in various ways. There are certain kinds of forces in society which of course are making it more mercantile and less creative, but I think sooner or later they will also come under the in a certain direction. So I'm quite happy to see the way architecture is growing overall, and the fact that we are increasingly talking to other disciplines. We are increasingly not just working in design offices but also in offices in which consultants are employed, and therefore very often people hiring practitioners like me are also another architects. So there's a whole set of peer advantage that one gets when one is talking about getting hired and so on. I'm particularly, I must state that I haven't kept much up to date with the developments and changes that have happened in NASA. I presume that now, since there are many architectural colleges, many more than the 20 odd that we had when I was studying, there would be a very large student body which would be automatic subscribers to NASA. That of course changes the nature of the organization, because beyond a certain number, a certain kind of familiarity has to end. But I must also congratulate NASA for doing something that I did not believe was possible. That is that in our days we believed that architectural education was in a different silo and practice was in a different silo. And frankly speaking, beyond practice, there were no really other career options. So when we believed that, we felt that during our 5 years or whatever, 5.5 years of architectural education, there was no place for practical work other than working in an architectural organization for a few months, sometimes during, sometimes after the course. But now I find that not just NASA, but also various independently thinking studio directors of various classes have started going to the field, and not just doing field work in terms of documentation, but also dirtying your hands and putting, let's say, bricks on the ground or making walls or making a small house and so on. And I think that's a very useful and encouraging trend, because in our society, as we probably all know, we tend to be very much hands-off and armchair people, and that is never really very good for society as a whole, because we simply end up being a profession that doesn't really work on the ground but just draws things, which is not going to be a very useful thing for the profession. So I'm happy that NASA is actually taking some positive initiatives to make this possible and to actually encourage this kind of development. From my peripheral brush with the NASA Secretariat, and this year, due to having helped frame one college the brief for the competition, I can see that there are interesting developments afoot, and clearly a lot of young people are trying to make a difference and trying to make a change in architectural education, and it's always refreshing to see changes coming from below rather than changes being imposed from the top. Give it your best shot. This work involves not just academic work of somebody framing a brief for you and you kind of meeting it like in a studio exercise, but it involves your getting out, getting the job, getting people on your side to accept you as a member of their community, as somebody who's a professional, doing it, implementing it, then of course documenting it as well, and then making a pitch for getting an award. So all the best.